Starting out in grey zone warfare can be intimidating, so in this video I'm going to show you how to complete the first 3 missions in the game solo, all in one run. Let's get going. So to start off, when you load in as your character to accept the tasks, you go to the vendor, click on a task tab, and then you can read all of the instructions there. For these first few, it actually gives you the coordinates. The later ones won't do that. Then you can just accept task. Then you can go to each of the other vendors, clicking on tabs at the top. So go to Gunny, accept his one, where you have to go to the warehouse and Lumberyard. And then go to Lab Rat, accept her task as well, where you have to go get some medical supplies from the water tower. Now for Gunny's quest, you're actually going to need a couple of trackers. So if you go to your messages, you'll have a message from Gunny and you'll be able to accept 2 trackers from him. You can see I've already done it. And then in your backpack, you'll find those 2 trackers. I've already put them into my safe lock, which just means if I die, I'm not going to lose them. I actually had a server crash before I recorded this, so that's why I don't have any gear at all, and the trackers are already in that safe lock. So I'm just going to load up here, put a load of stuff back on that I needed. As a quick extra tip, the M4s you get out of your backpack will have the iron sights on. To change it to the red dot sight, you need to inspect it, take off the carry handle, and then drag a red dot sight onto the optic. If the carry handle is still on there, you won't be able to attach the red dot sight because it kind of gets in the way. So once you've got all your gear together, then you can go on over to the helicopter pad in the base and open up your map. You can either hold M or press tab and then go up to the map at the top. And then you want to aim for this one, Charlie 2, to try and get to that part of the town. If you're in a different faction, obviously it will be one of the other areas. They're all kind of rotated in symmetry. So you'll be able to see there'll be a location that'll be like whatever your landing zone name is. And then 2, that's the one we want to start at today. Then when your helicopter comes, and if you check on the minimap, you'll be able to see it's green. That's how you know it's your one. You'll also hear the pilot talk to you over the radio. Make sure you just hop on it and then enjoy the ride over to the landing zone. So the first objective we're going to complete is the one where you have to go recon the gas station in first recon. So it gives you some coordinates, and basically if you go to Charlie 2, you can just follow the road up and the gas station is going to be on your right along that road. There is a set of buildings first which you can come along to that will have a bunch of enemies at, so either go all the way around it, walking through the fields, or clear those enemies out. Right now, if you're playing, there's probably a lot of people doing these early quests, so there's likely to be other people already clearing out those enemies, so you might get lucky. In my game, I did see there was a team fighting other enemies at that house, so I just made sure as I was walking towards them, keep using the in-game comms to kind of announce that you're there, that you're a friendly, just so they don't get spooked and accidentally shoot you. Once you get within sight of the gas station, there will be some enemies there, again, unless other players have taken them out already. So I quite like getting up on this raised bit of hillside and just shooting them from there. You can take out quite a few. I think there's normally like 4 or 5 enemies spawn here, so just try to take your time and clear all of those out. Once all the enemies are dead, you can just walk into the gas station and you should get a little notification whenever you go to a new area. You can see in the bottom right there, it says objective completed, and that's because we've kind of got into the gas station. That's completed the objective for first recon. It is worth looting around in a gas station. The enemies might have a second gun that you want, some AK ammo, and the cash registers always have a fair amount of money in them, like over $100 usually, so that's normally worth taking. If you go in the bathroom, you'll find a med kit, and that might have some spare bandages or a tourniquet or something. So I'll just show you on the map exactly where the gas station is. That's where it is in Kievonga if you're in Crimson Shield. If your starting town is in the south, so you're with Mithras, then it's going to be in the north part of the town, just there. And then if you're in the northeast one, so you're in Lemang, it's going to be to the south of that town there. Like I said, all the starting towns are identical. They're just rotated around. So when I show you the map for the rest of it, you can kind of make sense to it where the road is. Now next we're going to go to Lumberyard, which is just where I pointed out. So back along the road, back towards the landing zone that we came from, and this time you're going to go right. The reason we came to the gas station first is just because it's a bit out of the town. All of the rest of them, you're going to be going through the town, so you're going to be fighting a bunch of AI on your way. So head back towards town, and if you're following the road, you should see this big billboard on your right. That's basically the entrance to Lumberyard. Now you need to be careful, there will be a lot of AI soldiers around here. If you get shot, obviously take your time to bandage up. Kill the enemies first if you can. You don't lose blood very quickly unless there's 2 drops in the top left. If there's just 1, you've got a little while to make sure you're safe, kill the other enemies, and then get behind cover and do some bandaging. If you still have a wound, like you can see here, sometimes it goes away after a while. It just says on my status that I'm hurt, so painkillers will take away the hurt thing. If you've got a serious wound, you'll actually need a surgery kit. Use that in order to be able to completely clear up the wound. But for some reason, this one, I used some painkillers. That took away the hurt thing, stopped my character from making those audible groans, and then it just cured it after a while. You can see my legs red there in the top. That just went away. So when you go into the lumberyard, you can kind of go through this little gap in the fence here, this gate, and there's a bunch of enemies that spawn in here. There really is quite a lot. I had another player also trying to clear out a bunch, so this wasn't as difficult for me as it could have been, but you just need to be really careful because they can come out from behind the logs. As soon as you start shooting, because you'll have an unsuppressed weapon right now, all of the others will know that you're there and they'll start moving around to try and attack you. So just really take your time. There's no rush at all to clear this out. Once you're confident that you've cleared all the enemies out, you want to move all the way through to the other side of the lumberyard, so heading north if you're in the one that I'm in, and then just go to this little shed on the other side. Open that up and you should be able to interact with this box to hide the tracker. There are 2 sheds in Lumberyard, so if you go in one and the box isn't there, just go find the other shed right on the other side of Lumberyard, and that's where you'll find the box. If you don't have the prompt hide the tracker, it means you didn't put the tracker in your backpack on the way out. So annoyingly, to complete this mission, you're going to have to go all the way back to base, put the tracker into your backpack, and then come back here. Thankfully, if you do it quick, the enemies probably won't have respawned by then. Now, the next objective we're going to complete is the one for the medical supplies for Lab Rat. So that said, it was at the bottom of the water tower. There's the water tower just outside the lumberyard. So that's what we're going to be heading towards. You can go into this yard just here. I don't often seem to see enemies just here for whatever reason. But in the area where the water tower is, there definitely are a bunch of enemies. There's always at least 2, and I think sometimes people shoot around there and more enemies come flooding in. So just be really, really careful. Being careful is kind of the name of the game whenever you're going around in a town. You need to take it slow and just kind of listen out for enemies. You can often hear them talking. And then I can climb on these crates and just kind of have a quick look over the wall to make sure it's safe to get over the wall. And then you can actually just mantle on the wall and get over. The enemies are normally just in front of the office, so on the other side of this white tent on the left. And here, I actually thought that it was completely clear, so I started getting a little bit cocky and then immediately ran into 2 enemies. Bear in mind, enemies can just one-shot you. You can see that I got a bit of experience for noticing them. So there you go, there's 2 enemies there. I very quickly just sprayed them down. Thankfully, the enemies don't seem as tanky as they did in the other early access that we got to play. Now, in these tents, sometimes there can be a crate where you can get some UN gear, like some blue armor or a blue helmet, which is pretty cool. I didn't have any of that in here, but we're just going to be trying to go to the office in order to complete the objective. So the door you need is the second one along. So if you just open up that door by looking at it and interacting, and then the box that you're going to be picking up is just on this shelf to the right. If the prompt is grayed out, all that means is you don't have space in your inventory right now. So just drop some stuff until you've got a 2x2 square. That's how much space the supplies take up. Now, I would say because you need to take this one back to base to complete the mission, I would clear out your safe lock and then just put the supplies in there. If you do that, then even if you die, you'll just still have the supplies in your inventory, so you can just hand them in back at base, whatever happens. For the next mission, we're going to be heading to the northwest to the warehouse, which is one of the places you need to put the tracker down. You will go past this hideout. There'll be a bunch of enemies in the courtyard. If you kill them, you can find a weapons crate in here, so it's maybe a chance to get a slightly better weapon. I found a suppressed pistol in here if you want it. It's not essential and it's not needed for the mission though. So the place you're heading for next is this warehouse off to the northwest. Again, if you're in Crimson Shield, so it's in that one. So you should be able to see this big warehouse on kind of the outskirts of town, almost the opposite side of town to where the gas station was. And there's this little room just alongside it. If you go in there, you're going to be able to find the last crate that you need just to put the tracker on, and that will actually complete that mission completely. You don't need to take anything back. But like I said, just go inside this building. It'll say hide a tracker. Again, it won't say that if you don't have the tracker on you. But if you look at the map, you can see it's just there. So right on the other side of town from the gas station. So if you're at one of the other towns, hopefully you can rotate it in your head and work out which corner it's going to be in. Now, if you walk back into town, you should be able to see the supermarket, which is the next location you need for the Recon mission, pretty much right in front of you and to the right. So you can head past this guy who's just hanging out, and then you'll see the supermarket just there. All you need to do for this one is walk up to it, and that will complete that objective for the Recon one, just like you did for the gas station. You can see there I just got it. Inside here, there is a bunch of food and drink, so if you forgot to bring any with you, this is a decent place to go get some. Now, you only have one objective left, but annoyingly, you kind of need to go to the next corner of the town to get it. It asks you to find a ruined building, and if you see this big construction building there, the big concrete thing that's under construction, it's basically on the other side of that. There's a little lot that's got blue panels around it. That's what you're looking for. So you can see here, it's right at the end of the street. It's just that little lot that's covered in the sort of fence with the blue tarp over it. That's the area you need to get inside to complete the mission, and again, you just have to stand in it to complete it. You don't have to do anything there. Be aware there will be a bunch of enemies here. There's like 3 streets that converge at this corner, and all of them often have a lot of AI. I think I made a mistake here by shooting this AI. Took me a lot more shots than it probably should have, because that made a load of noise, and obviously that brings more AI out. Thankfully, there were other players in the area, so they came over and started helping me clear them out. So once you've got everything clear, then you can just run inside this lot. You should see it come up in the bottom right, task completed, and that's actually your 3rd mission basically done. This is where the location is on the map, so you can see in this one it's right in the north part of the town. Again, right kind of all the way down the main street away from the gas station. That's where you should be able to find this lot in your own version of the town. Now, the last thing to do is just to exfil, and I find the easiest way to exfil is to go northeast from here in my town, kind of to the closest edge. You should find that there's an exfil right at the edge of the town. So once you get out here, somewhere close to the landing zone, then you can open up your map, open up the big map, and if you click on the base camp, you can just call transport. You always have to click on like where you want to go, and it will just send a helicopter to the closest landing zone near you. And then all you need to do is wait and get on your helicopter. Normally from here, because they're only having to fly a little way from base, you shouldn't have to wait more than like a minute and a half or so. And again, because there'll probably be a bunch of people doing missions at the same time as you, chances are there'll be some teammates that want a ride too. Once you get back to base and land, thankfully you don't need to physically go find the vendors or anything like that. Just press tab to open up your menu, go to vendors, and then you can go to each one, go back to tasks, and then just click complete on each one. Weirdly, in this game, you won't automatically get the rewards. You need to kind of click on their message, so just open their message in the bottom right, and then collect their rewards from the attachments. If you don't do it right away, you can just go to your messages like you normally would. You should also find that you've now got an extra mission for each one of the different characters, so just accept all of those, and then you'll be able to go out and do the next set. If you found this useful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know if you'd like to see more guides, and particularly if there's any missions you're stuck on. That'd be super useful to hear about. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.